I worked too hard, Melvin. We worked too hard going to Oxford. I mean, my 3 years at Oxford was just way too tough. I mean, if I'm allowed a second chance, I don't know if I'd do it again. My time at Oxford and before that, Harrow, I think it wasn't wasted. I mean, it made me who I am, but gosh, that was way too tough, and I shouldn't have worked so hard. I should have realized the reality and understood the rules of the game earlier.
But don't you find that very, very interesting? Personally, I find it very fascinating in the sense that we talk about background. I think we can both relate to this. The Oxbridge education, being a barrister, especially the legal profession where more or less you're stuck to deal with and working within a system of rules, sort of very siloed sort of thinking within rules. And then now moving to business, insurance especially, where it's sort of more about being dynamic and thinking out of the box to develop your career. That's quite challenging for some people.
I mean, I don't know if it's because I came from such a sort of orthodox, I don't know, career, sort of orthodox approach, that I rebelled against it. You know, sometimes when you're so properly trained, you start to see the big picture and realize what's the point, you know? I think that's what happened to me. I have many good friends, great friends at the bar, but I totally don't buy into their way of working anymore. In fact, I wrote a book on my 2 years at the bar, and
Did you?
It's going to be published by the end of this year. I think it's going to be a bestseller, but I think the bar people are going to hate it absolutely. But again, as I said, because they're offended doesn't mean they're right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's great as well, because generally when people think about just even the legal profession itself, it's so highly regarded, but no one really goes to actually examine how it's really like and the sort of challenges that you actually have to face trying to pursue a path there. But then I think there's such an Asian sort of mentality, especially in the 4 generations, these certain professions, lawyers, doctors, engineers, whatnot, they get so highly regarded. Nowadays, it's more about a different sort of mindset, people thinking differently. But yet for a lot of people, they're still kind of stuck there. And to them, it's a challenge to the way of thinking, like, oh, you're making a mistake. Oh, you want to be an entrepreneur. You want to be unemployed. Okay, that sort of thinking. Yeah. I think a lot of the people that sort of go through our work as well, they do email us and they do talk to us and they do ask questions as well. And a lot of them, they do face a lot of the sort of social pressure, not just from parents, but generally around them to pursue, you know, path of being an entrepreneur, of being a self-sufficient person, to abandon what they are doing to do that. And
I mean, you touch upon an issue that I think a great deal about my many of my old friends. I mean, we all went to school together in the UK and we formed really close bonds. One problem I have with them is that they all come from sort of respectable families, and therefore they have to follow their parents' wishes and expectations. Now, a lot of them didn't go to Oxbridge like we did. They're not even that studious, but they all went to, you know, the great public schools, and therefore they have a reputation to keep. They have to go into certain professions, and yet none of them, honestly, at my age or around my age, are really doing well in my view. I don't see them anywhere. I don't know where they are. I don't know what they're doing. They're just fulfilling their family expectations. And what's the point? I mean, I look at a lot of them. I know they're not happy deep down. They know they are failing themselves. They're not really reaching the potential. So
there's no actual self-actualization going on, the sense of really unlocking full potential.
Exactly. So I say to them, you know, let go and be your own man. Honestly, try and do something. And you have such a safety net to fall back on anyway, should you fail. So why don't you do something about it? I mean, that's the point of I think the sort of education we had in the UK, right? We went to boarding schools, and many of us went to good universities. Why not stay in Hong Kong and study here? It's because supposedly the education in the UK could give us a sense of independence. We're able to be critical, to be contrarians, to break new grounds. Yet not many of us are doing that. Earlier on in the conversation, you said that I find myself alone. I do. I'm happy about it, because I think if everyone's thinking differently, then I'd be screwed, because I'd not be special anymore, you know?
I find a lot of people as well, generally, when they, especially a lot of the international students that go overseas and they study there, great universities, they tend to want to pursue opportunities in the West. Obviously, to them, they think opportunities lies in places that are more developed. But in reality, it's actually Asia, where there's actual need, where there's actually issues, and also room for improvement. That's the place that you can really contribute. And that's really where opportunity is. But yeah, a lot of people think differently to that. To them, it's almost like they try and avoid going back home if they can, and they want to stay there. And yet, really, to make change, you have to be in places that are really less developed, places that are in need more or less.
No, yeah, like you said, not enough of us are really doing what I am doing. It's to do with the mentality, like you said, and I think we just need more people who want to, you know, break the glass ceiling, just try and be something different. Unless enough of us do that, I think our generation, the next generation, are just going to be stuck where they are. And I like the word contrarian. I really like it, Melvin. I like that you mentioned it without my mentioning it first. I mean, I really like it.
It's not a battle.
Be a contrarian. I mean, you might think, oh, does it lead me to success? Maybe not, but that really should be the first step. And I feel that our listeners really need this sense of not being afraid to be different, because I think in this day and age, it's crying out for something different.
Yeah.
Should you become a true contrarian, you know, you never know where life leads you to, but wherever you are, wherever you go, life is definitely going to be more fun.
It's usually the road that's less traveled that's actually most memorable, most fun.
Exactly. We all say it, but people don't do it. That's the problem. You know, you got to act on it. We all know the principles, but nobody does anything about it.
I can certainly relate to it as well. I was a barrister previously and decided to pursue path of being a media entrepreneur, and there was a lot of challenge, especially before there's any sense of, at least obvious sense of achievement in the media and whatnot. So that sort of pressure that you face, which I think is really heightened, especially in Asia, where more or less the cultural framework is so different, where everyone more or less follows the way, and anyone who's trying to step out of it is regarded very, very adversely most of the time. There's a lot of pressure,